Today I have the last of my 2022 makeup favorites videos. Today I'm focusing on single eyeshadows, eyeliners, and mascaras. I have a good mixture in my singles of powders, liquids, and creams, and I actually just have one eyeliner and two mascaras to show you. So that's going to be the focus of this video, and in these 2022 favorites videos, I'll just remind you, I'm focusing on products that either released new in 2022 or were new to me trying for the first time in 2022. Most of these are ones that actually were released new this past year, but I do have just one. I think one of my mascaras that I'm going to be talking about is not a new product, but was new to me. There were certainly lots of products from past years that continued to be favorites in 2022, of course, but I'm not focusing on those today. Before we get into it, if you're new here, welcome. If you like this video and you like my content, I would love for you to consider subscribing to my channel. I like to focus on high-end, luxury, and indie makeup, and I do a combination of reviewing and trying out new makeup, demoing products, and also dipping into my collection and playing with my older makeup. So if all of that sounds good to you, I would love for you to subscribe. So let's get into my favorite single eyeshadows of the past year. I think I'll start with powder formulas and then we'll move into creams and liquids. I have 4 favorite powder single eyeshadows. 3 of them are from the Charlotte Tilbury Pop Shots collection. These are her Hypnotising Pop Shots, and the shades I got are Rose Gold, Diamond Eyes, and Emerald Eyes. So I want to swatch these for you and then I'll talk a little bit about them. Those 3 shades on my fingers. So Diamond Eyes, Rose Gold, and Emerald Eyes. I believe Diamond Eyes and Emerald Eyes were both website exclusives to the Charlotte Tilbury website. Rose Gold, and I think most, if not all, of the other shades in this collection did come out on Sephora. Diamond Eyes and Rose Gold I love just because they're fantastic everyday shades. They're really easy for me to wear. I have been looking for a shade like Diamond Eyes for such a long time. It's a really dimensional, sparkling, shimmering, light champagne color, so I'm very happy to have that. And I think especially to have it in a single shadow format was something that I really couldn't find. So I'm so happy with that one, and it's really nicely pigmented as well. So it's not like a sheer topper, which I do have a couple of other single shadows that are more like sheer toppers in similar colors to this, which are very useful as well, but I wanted a more opaque one, and I certainly got it in Diamond Eyes. Rose Gold is great. It's a really go-to type shade for me. It does have that rose gold feel and a bit of warmth to it, but it's not too orangey. It has a little bit of pinkiness in it. This has a more smooth metallic texture. I think Freddie likes it too. And then Emerald Eyes is just a really special shade. I love greens. Greens are my go-to if I want a slightly more colorful eyeshadow look, and Emerald Eyes is just really dimensional. It is kind of a duochrome, so you can see there's a bit of a kind of purpley blue flip on it. It's a cooler emerald green base, but there's a little bit of a warmth in the reflect there as well. So it's just a really beautiful shade and a great one and done shadow. I really should have worn it today, but I wasn't planning on filming this video today actually, so I wore the Lisa Eldridge Sorcery palette, so I'm not wearing single shadows on my eyes, but I certainly could have worn Emerald Eyes and gotten actually a pretty similar look that I did using a number of shades from the Sorcery palette with just the one Emerald Eyes shade. My other single powder eyeshadow favorite is the Victoria Beckham Lid Lustre in the shade Velvet. This is in the running for my favorite single eyeshadow ever. I just think it's such a beautiful color. I love that it's this warmer olivey green. It has a little bit of gold in it, but it has a beautiful grunginess to it too, almost kind of a burnished quality. And it's definitely one of the best lid lustres, probably the best in my opinion. Just the way this works on the eye, it's so beautiful and gives a little bit of a smokiness, but not too much. It works excellently just on its own. Has this beautiful kind of brown base as opposed to a blackened base, which I think also helps with the wearability of it. And hand swatches really for any of these shadows aren't going to do full justice for these shadows, because it's once they get on the eyes and they work with the texture of the skin on your eyes and the shape of the eye that you can really see the dimensionality come through with these shadows. So I will link below. I've done videos where I demo most, if not all, of these products that I'm talking about today. So I'm going to link those videos in the description box so you can actually see these products and how they look on the eyes as well. So those are my 4 single eyeshadow favorites in powder form. While I have those on my hand, I wanted to mention my one cream eyeshadow favorite, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in the shade Exaggereyes. And the reason I wanted to pull this out now while I still have the powders on is because I wanted to show you how it looks next to the rose gold, because I find that these pair really beautifully together. So Exaggereyes is kind of the perfect neutral that I've been looking for from Charlotte Tilbury in the Eyes to Mesmerize formula. The formula is super soft and moussey and buttery, but it will set down on the eyes, which is great. I find I prefer to have a little bit of a base on underneath it, so I usually like to use a very thin layer of the NARS Soft Matte Concealer as a base for my eyes if I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize. I find that just helps the color to pay off better, and it really helps with the wear time for these shadows. I'm just going to swatch Exaggereyes right there. You can see it's a little bit different from rose gold. It's a little bit more neutral, a little bit more brown actually. And I just love it because it is a warm color. It's on the warm side, but it's not too warm. And it doesn't go orangey like a lot of shades like this tend to, and actually like a lot of Charlotte Tilbury shadows tend to do on my eyes. So I just think this color is really well done. It works very well for me because it does have that slight warmth to it. I find it looks nice with my green eyes and enhances them a little bit, but still looks really nice and natural, and you can get a very soft look with this. I also love the reflect on this. Maybe you can see that there's a cooler toned kind of silvery reflect that definitely has a presence, but it's not too strong. It still has a subtlety while bringing this beautiful wet look. So I just think they've done really well with that Exaggereyes single. And as I said, I love to layer it underneath the rose gold. The rose gold looks beautiful patted over top of this, but it looks beautiful on its own as well. Now I have 3 liquid eyeshadow singles that were favorites from this past year, and they're all Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lurex eyeshadows. So here they are, and these actually all came out as part of her kind of earlier fall collection. She did bring out 3 more shades right before Christmas, but these came out in the collection before that. And the shades that are my favorites are Emily, Daphne, and Zora, so I'm going to swatch those as well. The liquid Lurexes I love to use on their own, but I also love to use them as more of an eyeshadow base, kind of an eye primer with just a thin layer blended out all over the lid, and then going over top with powder eyeshadows. Those are my main ways for using these shadows, but I also like using the darker shades for liners, so that's why I've included Zora here. I've really enjoyed just using this as an eyeliner. I do find it a little bit deep on its own as an all-over lid color for most days, but as an eyeliner it's really perfect, and it gives this beautiful sparkling effect, but it's dark enough that it still defines the eyes. Emily is just a perfect everyday shade. It's a little bit of a cooler toned taupey type shade, and it has beautiful dimensionality. It's deep enough that it gives some shadow and definition to the eyes, but not too dark that it's overwhelming. So that's just fantastic for an everyday look. And then Daphne, I mean, you just have to look at the color. I love this color. It's this warmer, kind of sagey, mossy type green. Similar to Emily, when you use it all over the lid, it's enough to give a little bit of shape and definition, but definitely not too much. It's a more gentle, subtler look, even though it's a little bit more colorful with this green shade. Now for eyeliner, I just have one favorite that came out in the past year, and it's the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner in the shade Olive. So the Satin Kajal liners are my all-time favorite eyeliners. They're almost the only eyeliner I use. I will occasionally dip into others, but these are really my go-tos. And the shade Olive, although I think it is misnamed because that to me does not look like an olive green, it's more of a neutral to cool type of green. So it's more kind of like a foresty green in my opinion. But even though it is that type of a shade, I find it goes well with warmer green eye looks as well. So I often like to do fully green eye looks, or I'll put a little bit of green as an enhancement in an eye look. And I love to use this olive liner in either of those cases. And as I said, it works well with all different types of greens. And it has enough depth that it's really good at defining the eye too. Sometimes more colorful liners don't have enough depth that they're going to actually define and enhance the lash line, but this one is definitely dark enough to do that. And the formula is fantastic. It also works really nicely as a base underneath other eyeshadows. So really versatile and a great color. And lastly, the 2 mascaras that were my favorites this year. the Tower 28 MakeWaves mascara. I think this ended up on a lot of favorites lists this year. It's just a good mascara. For me, I find it's a good blend between volumizing and lengthening. It's dramatic enough that it works well with a more dramatic look, but it can also be subtle enough to work on an everyday basis. This is what the wand looks like. So it's a little bit curved, which is nice to be able to kind of coat the lashes with the more concave side and then build up with the more convex side. And it's small enough that you can get into those smaller areas like the inner part of the eye I find really difficult to get to with a lot of mascaras. So this wand makes that very easy. And then my other favorite mascara, which was new to me this year but has been on the market for many years, is the Lancôme Monsieur Big Mascara. This is kind of similar to the Bite Upswing, which has been discontinued, of course. So it's a much larger wand. This is just amazing at giving you tons of volume and lots of drama very quickly. And another mascara that I find is just solid and really dependable. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I always love to see them. And if you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would love for you to do so. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.